and weather being good today. And I'm looking at the forecast. We got some great weather forecast. So lovely, lovely, lovely. Guys, I just done a lovely, lovely, lovely tea on the barbecue. I got some chicken breasts yesterday and sliced them up into, like little mini fillets. Coated them in one of my favourite honey and chili rubs. I haven't used this one before, but the brand Angus and Oink. Lovely. So it's a powder rub, honey and chili. And I coated those last night. Okay. And what I made then, guys, was lovely. It was a fresh mango salsa to go with them. So I'd done those on the barbecue. And then I got some fresh mango chopped up into little pieces, and with some red pepper, some onion, some coriander, some lime juice, and wrap honey and chili chicken fresh mango salsa in the belly. It was wonderful, guys, wonderful. And it's one of those meals where I don't feel full. I'm not going to be, my gut's not going to be bursting, but it was wonderful. Who we got in the house this evening? Grandad Chris. Evening, Grandad Chris. Oh, Grandad Chris is having a rub down with a wet mackerel. Well, okay, that's good. That's good. Not for me with a wet mackerel. I prefer some salt cod, but there we are. There we are. There we are. So yeah, so guys, had a lovely, lovely tea. Chicken. Just in that, guys, Angus and Oink, they've got I don't know, 20, 30, 40 different rubs. I probably got most of them, all right, but I saw some stuff about that, so I thought I'd give that a try. Wonderful, wonderful. Skewered it up on the barbecue, wonderful. And then I chopped all the salsa stuff up, and I kept it all separate, literally until I was putting the chicken on the hot plate, and then I made the salsa up right at the last minute, so it was nice and fresh. Nev Snowden, well done. Nev's in the house, well done, mate, well done, mate. So, no, lovely tea, lovely tea. Right, let's crack on a little bit, guys. Those Testwood Heavy Stalkers, I took half off the dryer this morning. Like I said, it's a set of 5. Guys, there is about 10 sets ordered already, but if you want a set, let me know. Okay, it's only a set of 5. We got these are all 4.5, okay, so perfect for in the margins. Okay, so we've got who's in the house? John Evans, well done, mate. John's ordered a set, he's on my list here. Steve, have you opened the box? Steve the Curry. Steve, I've received the box of goodies, but I haven't opened it yet. I'm going to open it in the morning, mate. I swear, I swear. Let me go back to these flies. So we got the super heavy perch that Peter used at Testwood last time. Okay. Then we've got my famous black and gold 4.5 with the rich gold. Okay. All these have got eyes on, dotted, all epoxy. None of these you can get on the website. These will go on if there's any left, but these are all slightly different than the standards. Okay. Copper and orange. Again, eyes. What have we got there? See the therma. Hi. Don't know about that. Looks a bit. Well, I don't know. Hi. There we are. I don't know. So that's 3, guys. Then we got the guys. That is really nice. That's the bullfrog again. All 4.5, and there should be one more in here. Yeah. The bait fish again with that 4.5 chartreuse, all eyes, all epoxied. So that's about half there, and I've already done the second half this evening. All right. And Grandad Chris, can you bring me a set on Saturday? No problem at all. Let me write that down. Grandad Chris times 1. There we are, guys. I've got John Evans 1. Someone wants 5. I've got my mate Peter set. Giza 2 sets. Alan a set. Grandad Chris. So we got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So guys, if you want a set, there's about 4 sets left. Okay, so yeah, so we are looking forward to Testwood on Saturday. Okay, we normally do 3 trips to Testwood a year, so that's what we've done this year. We've got April, May, June, before perhaps it gets too hot anyway. And I'm talking to or message John Evans this week. He was there on, I think it was Monday, John, I think, and him and his wife, I can't think of her name. Anyway, they had some lovely fish between 11 and 15 pound. Copper and orange, and orange leech as well. So he said there was a little tinge of colour in it, but you know, as we get more sun, we're likely to get a little bit more colour in we. So that's okay. That's okay, guys. Excuse me, my slip. So yeah, for us on Richard Neville, can I have a set, please? I'm at Testwood in a few weeks. Richard Neville, yeah, I'll put you down, mate. There we are, guys. So there's not that many left, unless I've kept a few back. Steve Smith, any thoughts on my ideas for a fly for Andy? I don't know about that. I don't know. I mean, if it's no problem for me to come up with a fly for, you know, our late great friend Andy Bandin, and I know what sort of fly patterns he was using and tying last going off. Yeah, I thought about it, but I don't know is the answer to that. I'll give it some more thought. But it's no problem coming up with a nice, you know, fly for Andy. And I know, like I say, I know what I know the patterns he was favouring. They were a bit like a sort of pheasant tail, weighted, hot head. But yeah, I can come up with the set. So well, I'll give it some thought, guys. Anyway. Yeah, I'll give it some thought. I haven't given it a great deal of thought, I must admit. But yeah, I will. I think, to be honest, like, if I start thinking about flies for Andy, I end up thinking about Andy, and, you know, you get a bit upset, don't you? And you know, it wrecks your mental health a little bit. But yeah, no, it's a good idea. It's a good idea, and yeah, I'll give it some more thought, guys. I'll give it some more thought, Steve. Mike, I'm Martin. What are your views on balanced flies? Are they good or just a gimmick? Mike, I have no idea what a balanced fly is. Perhaps you might want to explain. Guys, to be honest, I don't buy any monthly trout magazines. I don't follow trends and what have you. I don't follow. I come up with flies, we try them, friends try them, and we go like that, you know. Or sometimes I'll even look at articles 20, 30 years ago and things like that, and I look at old patterns and things like that. But I'm not a one for looking at old YouTube videos and old things. So mate, I have no idea what a balanced fly is. Let me know what it is. I don't know. Sounds a bit gimmicky, but I don't know. Is it a buoyant fly like a booby, or is it a buoyant fly like a suspender buzzer? You know, let me know. We'll chat about it. Steve Smith, yeah, we love Steve. Paul Cook, cookies in the house. Okay, Paul Cook, what's your go-to? Paul, where was you to the last time? We were talking about leaders, my old mate, last time. My go-to leader at the moment, hang on, hang on, hang on, I got my vest here. Here we are, there we are. It's a cigar, like the Grand Max, so that's my go-to leader. Cigar, real soft, okay, in £10. Now, I get that from Gary Evans. I used to work there for 100 million years, okay. So, yeah, but if you look for that on Gary Evans' website, I don't, well, I know they haven't got it under the fly leader section, so you know, if you put on in their search bar cigar or real soft, you'll come up with it, okay. And they do 25-meter spools like that, or they do 100-meter spools. So that's a £10, mate, okay. That's a £10. That covers me for most. It's fluorocarbon, it goes reasonably clear in water. That's what I use. Other than that, it's the Grand Max Reverge, okay. Excuse me, guys, have a little slurp here. James Sylvain's in the house. Balance flies work well, been around for years on still waters, under indicators. James, I still don't know what you mean. I mean, under indicators, you know, your indicator is your floating device, okay? And then underneath that you have buzzers, bloodworms, eggs, things like that. So but if that's what you're on about, yeah, if I was fishing under indicator, that and which we all do quite often, because sometimes you get out to the shit on a day where they don't want to chase or anything. Sometimes it's a brilliant method. And yeah, so years ago my go-to fly was a marabou-tailed bloodworm, and it was deadly. That was in the Let's Lay days when it was good, and then I tend to use that pattern all over. But lately that's changed to eggs, buzzers, and things like that, I suppose. So yeah, but let us know. Paul Cook, yeah, hope you're fitting well, mate. Paul, when are you coming fishing with us again, mate? You're a good guy and a good laugh. Come on, Paul, get fishing, mate. Mike, yeah, I think the balance fly is one that lies horizontal in the water, normally suspended under a bung. Poplar in the US, and some are being sold by Fulling Mill. Well, yeah, I've no idea about that, mate. So I'm not up to that trend anyway. But yeah, I think going with flies and indicators and whatever you fancy using under an indicator, the deadliest part of it is actually the method, fishing static. So you get days where they don't want to chase whatsoever, okay, so fishing static. If you've got a fly suspended in the water there, Mr. Trout comes along and he's the right level and he sucks it in, you know. So he might not want to chase a pulling fly, but on the days like warm days and things like that, or sometimes even the opposite, freezing cold days until things change in the day. But yeah, I think it's just the method is right and the depth you need to get right, and then if they bump into a bloodworm, buzzer, egg, I don't think they turn it down, okay. I don't think they turn it down, guys. What have we got there, mate? James, they are tied with a pin extended with a bead beyond the hook eye. No, mate, no. I'll have a look. I'll look it up tomorrow, James. I'll look it up tomorrow. Steve Smith, how on earth did our forefathers fly fish with horsehair line? I don't know, mate. Silk lines, tow rope leaders. But you know what, guy? They probably all caught fish, didn't they? They probably all caught fish. Are we falling for the trap of moderns, of super light? Let me tell you a little story about that. When I used to do a lot of river fishing, match fishing on the River Wye and the Mono, you know, the reel line was 2.6 or 2.5 pound beer pearl on, 1.7 bottom, cast out a waggle or a stick float depending your swim, trotting maggots, catching, you know, chub to big chub on our wire, you know, 3, 4, 5 pound and all that, you know. And then, but I get broke quite often. And then when I started going pike fishing, you know, trying to catch a few baits, I'd have an old float rod. Well, actually, it was the very first Whisker Kevlar fly rod, Whisker Kevlar match rod that ever came out. And I'd have a reel on it with 6 pound line straight through to a 14, 3 maggots. They weren't shy to that, guys, either. So are we all brainwashed to use super light? Back in the day, I think I certainly was on the river. Well, everybody did as well. But you know, you can't bully a big fish on 2 pound line. You can't do it, can you? You know, you can't do it like, but on 6 pound line, you can. But there we are. Richard Wilkins is in the house. What about smelly flies? Smelly flies. Well, I hope none of mine's smelly, but I got a good story about that too. Could you soak them in barbecue marinade? I might give one a nibble as well. I don't know. Could you soak it in pilchard oil, fish oil? I don't know. Years ago, talking about the bloodroom, the lads from Cardiff, Plug and all that, I used to sell them some bloodrooms, and they used to go to Avington, and they used to fish a bloodroom static on the indicator, gently, a lake one, you know. And the fish had come up, and Plug said to me, he said, I see the fish go round, he said, and then they come in and take it. He said, I don't know what it is, Matt. He said, even like when the marabou tails snap off, I've gone home. He said, I've cut your flies apart. He said, and I can't see what it is. So I was winding him up. Excuse me, guys. I was winding him up. I was like this. Did you smell him? And he was like, you. So I convinced him that my bloodrooms were giving off some sort of smell, or I soaked them in some sort of scent, and he was convinced that I soaked them in a smell, and that's why anyway. But there we are, Richard. There we are. But no, I have never soaked them in. But guys, I've got lots of marinade if you want to give it a go. Barbecue, sauces and what have you. I don't know, mate. There we are, AM1780. Sounds like a Mercedes, isn't it? An AM1780. Was at Testwood yesterday and he bagged it by 8:30. Well done, mate. What do you want to do, mate? They always get 1 or 2 fish before 10 o'clock, then go for a chill out and a beer, then go back again. And the Chapali said hi. Richard Wilkins, yeah, good. Oh, guys, let me have a bit of a slurp. Yeah. I've had a great day today, guys. I don't do enough like sitting in the garden, chilling out. Tomorrow, because we got nice weather, I might perhaps move the gear outside. What you don't want is any slight breeze whatsoever, you know. But yeah, I might move the gear outside tomorrow. Right, what have we got? Mark Osborne's in the house. Have I ever mentioned that Mark Osborne from Canvey Island is still the Chalk Springs champion? Yeah, which he's coming with us on Saturday. Hello, mate. Looking forward to Saturday. Better than waiting for Santa. Of course it is. Of course it is. I'm going to say that I read that. I didn't really read a bit. Yeah, AM fish test with yesterday. Also had some beautiful browns on dry mayfly on the river. So guys, that's a thought for any of our guys who are going down. Do you know what? I got some lovely mayflies and grey wolves that the late Ross Huey tied for me. He's a lovely guy who passed away sadly a few months ago. Yeah, so yeah, there's an option. Cameron Stevenson, hi Martin. Cameron's in the house. John Evans, sounds like April the 1st fly from you is going to be the KFC stalker. How did you know about that? How did you know about that? Who's leaked? Who's leaked? Someone's leaked the gossip. KFC stalker. Dave Langford, hi Dave. Hi Martin. How do you rate the Rio lines? Yeah, it's a floating line. Yeah, and they do some great lines as well. Yeah, it's my favourite. I use the Rio Still Water Elite, and it's got that sort of meter section, sort of orange on the end, which acts like a little bit of indicator. Just remember, a lot of these like lines and these distance lines, you know, can be, or they are sort of, or they can have a lot of non-stretch core. They are a little bit prone to being a bit coily. So, you know, sometimes out of the box, sometimes they might be a bit coily. Oh, can you hear the robin singing there? And then, you know, but just be sensible. But I love the Rio lines. If I'm going to sinking or intermediate lines, guys who won't beat an airflow. They've been doing it for years, haven't they? They've been doing it for years. My favourite Rio line, the fast intermediate, the airflow line, the fast intermediate, the dive 3 40 plus extreme. Wow, if you want to chuck, you know, 35 yards, that's the line with a big fly. It'll do it. So yeah, love the Rio lines. Rio do great modern lines in a great range, and airflow do the complete range, don't they? Excellent, yeah. Richard Wilkins, Grey Wolf is perfect. Oh, for that stretch, yeah. I got a couple of little Grey Wolves and some Rob Gents daddies as well. The Big Mac sounds good. Grandad Chris, your April flies are the best ever. The 19 materials, yeah, from last year was a genius. I think that was 2-year-old, mate. I think, Chris. I think that was 2-year-old, mate. Steve Smith, what causes line twist? You've had a perfect cast only to find your line looks like a coiled spring. Is quality, cost, make of line the difference? No, I don't think it is, guys. I don't think it is. Right, guys, that's your new fly line. You've tied it to your reel, okay? So you're holding it like that, and you're winding it, and it's coming off like that, yeah? No, you've just put line twist in your fly line. Guys, when you got a new fly line, okay, tie it to your backing line, okay, put a pen through that, okay, and then get the wife to hold it, and then when you pull it, it rotates off like that. Don't pull it off in coils, okay? So that can be one reason. Different flies kicking about in the water can cause twist, and what we talked about last week with leaders, different leaders, you know, that loop to loop joint, especially if you've got a tapered leader, which is great for turnover of dry flies. Do I need a tapered leader for turning over a tungsten fly for stalking? No, it's just 1, 2 of those 12-foot, 10-pound, like that. But if you loop to loop on, say, 10-pound, when you loop, it'll pull through fairly tight. But on a ready-made tapered leader, the butt end could be 20, 30 pound. you know, to give it a nice taper. But when you pull that down, it won't sit straight. It could sit off there, could sit off there, and that could cause a twist, guys. So yeah, it could be the way, you know, you load your fly line. Don't just pull it all off, stick it on the axe minster and wind it on. It's no good, guys. Pull it off the spool like that, okay? So say it could be the way you've loaded it. It could be or it could be the way you've attached it sometimes to your leader, sometimes even flies, or even, I think even like casting, things like that can put a bit of a twist in it. But your main ones, loading it wrong, you know, tapered leaders and things like that, guys. Okay, so just be careful. Just be careful. What causes line twist? Like a coil spring. Yeah, if you've got line twist, you know, like I said, I've used nightmare stories where people say I've stretched it on the garden. Just, guys, go back to the backing and then pull it, you know, through, and then the last 5-10 meters you'll see it, and it'll go. All right, but yeah, line twist can be a bit of a nightmare, but don't confuse line twist with just the odd kink in the line as well. Guys, you know, I've had 12 million fly lines over 50 years or whatever. Have I had a line dead straight like that? No, I haven't. Do I expect one? No. Because it's loaded on your reel and it's on tight coils. It could be on for months, years, whatever. You know, if you've got a little kink in it, that's fine, isn't it? That's fine. But yeah, if you've got line twist, it's bad. And then you'll see when you bring your fly in, because your leader's going, because that's the twist, guys. All right, so hope that helps, my old mate. I hope that helps, my old mate. Right, guys, got a few questions. Oh, firstly, Neil Monday, he asked me to mention, Neil does a lot of raising money for the Wild Trout Trust. Okay, so he's dropped me a message to say, can I put this out that they've got a competition. They do it every year, and the competition is the 3-fly competition at Meon Springs. I think you get allocated 3 flies. That's it. I like the sound of that. Do you know Shimano Valindra years ago used to do a 1-fly competition? If you caught that sloping bank behind, snap your leader, fly's gone, you're out of the comp. What, what a great idea for a competition, the 1-fly comp. If you lost your fly, you're out. Couldn't change, 1 fly. But that was good. Anyway, we're going back to Neil Monday, who raises a lot of money for that Wild Trout Trust. Okay, so they have their yearly competition at Meon Springs on the 14th of June. Okay, there's still 10 places available. That was up until yesterday or the day before when he dropped me a message. He didn't send me any details of cost and food. I believe, you know, breakfast or a buffet might be involved, but he said go to the Meon Springs trout fishery website. All the details are on that, and I know there's lots and lots of good prizes and stuff to be won. Okay, so that's contact Neil Monday for the 3-flight competition at Meon Springs, 14th of June. Places still available. All right, okay. Mike, do you remove the leader from your fly line at the end of every day to prevent the leader cutting into your fly line? I don't take it off every time I'm coming from fishing. You've seen that rod holder I've got. I hook a bit of foam in it, I wind it up, dunk to the top of the eye, break my rod in half, in the rod holder it goes, and then I put a brand new leader, so there's no leader wrapped round the reel and the fly line. because that's where people get the leader jammed and they grab the leader and it's jammed in and they pull it and pull it, and that cuts your fly line. Be careful, guys, with that. But what I do is every time I go fishing, like we're going Saturday, Friday night, get all the gear ready, get the rod tube out, take off the leader, tie a new one on, put whatever fly I want, put that bit of foam on, wind it up in the rod holder. So I never actually leave a leader wrapped round the reel when I finish fishing. You know, it's the length of the rod thereabouts to the tip eye in the rod holder. Next time I go, put a new leader on every time, because you don't know if that leader's roughed up a little bit. You on the last trip, you don't check your leader. So guys, for the sake of a few pence, I put a new leader on every time, choose my fly for the day, or think what's going to work. Can't guarantee what's going to work, but yeah, go from that, guys. All right, so yeah, excuse me guys, that was a lovely tea, that honey and chili chicken with that fresh salsa. Took some pictures of that fresh salsa, chopped up mango, red pepper, onion, cilantro, lime juice, a little bit of salt, jalapeno chopped up, or a chili chopped up. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, and the chicken wasn't too strong. I think that would go quite nice, that sweetness and what have you, with perhaps even something a little bit more spicy. So yeah, good. That's good. Good. That's good. Right, guys. What have we got? Yeah, guys, a good question has come in about waistcoats or bags and things like that for still water fishing. Now, back in the day, you know, we all had, well, we didn't all have, but, you know, there's lots of lovely bags on the market, wasn't there? You get the normal over-the-shoulder satchel type bag, which is like 20 quid, or you get the sort of square framed bag, and Witchwood used to do some great ones. I think they still probably do, because they've always upgraded, but they used to do two. They used to do a bankman and a boatman. Now, the bankman was of reasonable size, you know, hard waterproof base, okay, and then a fairly big compartment, and then a top compartment with bits and pieces and what have you, and that was quite good. And then they've done a boatman, which was like a suitcase, okay, again hard waterproof bottom base, I think pretty well waterproof fabric, huge compartment with take in, take out Velcro dividers, and then the top compartment was a big compartment like a suitcase with detachable Velcro dividers, which you could put all your individual spools in, you know, for like boat anglers, like we've said, take loads and loads and loads of spools, because they don't know what conditions they're going to meet on the day, you know, what line they want. But it's all lovely, and we've all, probably a lot of us still water anglers have had these big-ish bags. But guys, you don't want to carry them around the lake, do you? You know, over your shoulder, and they cut in and what have you, okay? So that to me is, these big boatman type bags are superb for the boat angler. You're not walking too far, you go on your boat, everything's organised, okay? In the big main compartment, you've got your fly boxes, you know, probably your priest. You should take, you know, it's big enough to put like a lightweight pair of waterproofs in, probably your flask as well. And in the top compartment, if you open that, like match fishermen like, everything to hand, you've got all your different fly lines. The roof of it was like a sticky like a Velcro. You could hook all your flies in it, so it was well organised, but too big to carry round the shore, so around the bank. So for me, for the last, I don't know, wow, long time, 20 years it's been a fly vest. Bear with me. Steve Smith, how do you calculate how much backing you put on the reel so the fly line fits without getting pinched and trapped? That's a good question, mate. That's a good question. For me, it's a bit of a trained eye after loading about 10 million in the fly shop. Okay, the perfect scenario is that if you've got two reels the same, or a reel and a spare spool, and then what you do, you reverse it. So let's say I've got two reels now and I want to get a nice fill. So what I'll do on the reel one, no backing, I'll put the fly line, the actual casting fly line, on the back of the spool, wind it up to the end, join the back in, and then wind that up till it's reasonably full, not to the max, about 90%. Okay, so I've got a nice full reel, okay, but it's the wrong way around. So then what you do, okay, take that spool off again, put that spool like that, give that to the missus or the kids, okay, and then you tie the end to your new spool, which is the backing line, and you wind the backing on, so that's coming off the spool, then to the fly line. So you reversed it, so you've got a perfectly full spool, okay, that you've put on the wrong way around on one spool, and then reversed it on your other spool. But never fill it to the max, because for some reason when you reverse it, it always seems to be a little bit too much. All right, so you kind of cut the front bit off your fly line, so when you load it the wrong way around, about 90%, and when you load it, it'll be about right. Other than that, it's a bit of a trained eye. You can't say how much, because it depends, you know, on the size of the centre of your spool. If you had a tiny little centre like that, you'd need hundreds of meters. If you had a large arbor like that, you'd only need about 50 meters. And when I was in the tackle shop, you used to have these people who used to buy these spools, and they loved these still water reels that took 200 yards of backing. They loved it. Why? Why do you want 200 yards of backing? I reckon at 200 yards of backing, 190 yards of that will never ever get wet in the lake, you know? So, but some people, oh yeah, 200 yards of backing, got to have that. If you go to the Caribbean and you're fishing for bonefish on the flats, fair enough. But guys, you don't need 200 yards of backing. That's why large arbor reels now, they hold about 30, 50 yards of backing. You put your fly line on, it's on a bigger circle, looks after your fly line, guys, okay? There we are, Richard Neville, 3 fly challenge is £110, okay, which includes brunch, and the first prize is a sage rod even, not a sage Todd. Excellent, thanks for that, Richard. Thanks, mate. So yeah, so what you've got for your 110 quid is great. You've got your full day ticket, okay, you have a good crack with the competition, everybody. I guess perhaps you rotate, I don't know, but normally people rotate on competitions perhaps. And then you're gonna have a great brunch then, chat about the one that got away and everything, all right. And then you've got, I know, quite a few prizes, so I'm not sure what the day ticket is, so you're paying a few more quid for a chance of winning the sage rod. You're having some food and a good crack, so yeah, that's good. So contact me on Springs or Neil Mundy, sorry, about that, guys. Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good. So going back to the bag thing, so I set my thing about the bag. So the other option, with other than a bag, okay, is a fly vest. That is a fly vest, okay, and you can see the brand Fish Pond, okay. Now Fish Pond do, I don't know how many they do. Excuse me a sec. I'm just going to put a splash in there, guys. Are you okay, Linda? You're welcome to come join me. Put some wine in the fridge with you. Right, guys, there we are. Stop for some refreshments. Right, okay, so yeah, fly vests, okay. Fly vests was something that we used to sell, well, going back, say, 5 or 10 years ago in the tackle shop, we used to sell millions of fly vests. And I see that it slowed down a little bit. And I think the reason it slowed down a little bit is because lots of these little packs, you know, bum bag type things with the Yanks call fanny packs, chest packs, hip packs, you know, things like that. And they're really quite good because these chest packs, when you're like in the river, our good mate Luke Gator, you know, he's got these like chest pack type of things. So when you're fishing in the river, you know, you can have a look, you can open what you want, it's there in front of you, you know, so chest packs are good. But 2 secs. Grandad Chris, on the vest theme, what is your recommendations for a wet weather jacket? My Ron Thompson feels like a straight jacket. Ron Thompson is code for happy shopper. Mate, you need to get a good jacket. We'll talk about that shortly. So, yeah, fly vest. Now you get a basic fly vest, no packs or things on it, and I guess years ago we used to sell lots like the Ron Thompson cheapie that Grandad Chris has got, and they were like 30 quid. I expect you can still get vests now for 30, 40 quid and things like that, okay. But fish pond, okay, they're lovely. And there's a couple of good reasons why you get a fish pond one. They do lots and lots and lots, and they're not cheap, okay. They do a basic fly vest, okay, and it's, you know, I think you can get a basic one probably for about 70 quid, all right. Then you can get one with a few sort of hard pockets like this, okay. I think there's one below this, okay, and then in the back, you know, you got your mesh back, which is nice. It's not too heavy, you know, it's not too sweaty. I tend to put my what do you call it, fish pegs in the back there, something I don't need straight away, okay. And like all fly vests, they've got millions of pockets. You can see, okay, there's a pocket there, there's a big pocket there, pocket there, millions of pockets, like all fly vests have got. But the good thing is, with a fish pond fly vest, now they even do, like this is probably, I think this is probably 2 or 3 in the range of vests getting more and more stuff on, and bulkier, dare I say, perhaps bulkier, perhaps, you know, but this one is perfect, okay. So I've got a little hard case there. There we are. So that hard case there is actually a built-in fly box, okay, and again that'll only fall to that, okay. So you can put all your flies you want in the day. What I do in mine as well, on this side, I put all my GoPro batteries, what I want for the day, which will be 4 or 5 or in one of them. And in there's a fly box, there's 3 or 4 fly boxes in there, and there's millions. And then on the inside there, a packet of indicators and several pairs of glasses, I expect. But on the outside, you've got your Armadoo patch. Well, Armadoo patch is like a like a natural, is it fungus? Moss fungus? Anyway, it dries flies. If you're fishing a dry fly and you want to dry it off, put it in there, squeeze that moisture gone, give it some dry magic, and then on there, obviously, not obviously, but I've got my bottle opener, and this is a good little gadget, and Andy Banton showed me about this. You know when you've got eyes blocked with varnish? It's a stainless steel spike, and it's sharp as a bloody razor and pointy as a razor, and that's locked there now. Don't keep it locked, but you can twist it, and there you are, disappears. So we've all been, especially with epoxy, you try to pierce the eye of epoxy fly, you use your hook, don't you, with another fly, and that gives your hook. These were nothing, they were like 5 or something like that. Stainless steel, really sharp, bottle opener. And I've always said, guys, get yourself a good pair of forceps, not the Appy Shopper Indian ones. These are Streamworks, okay. And what you've got with the Streamworks ones, okay, they're in the middle, they lock, okay, there, and then what you've got there, okay, is a debarber, a crusher. So if you've got barbless hooks, crusher there as well, okay. So you've got a good forceps, and then can you see there as well, that tiny little spike? That's for clearing the eye as well, okay. So yeah, buy yourself a good pair of forceps, as they don't cost a ton of money. A good pair of forceps will cost you the price of 4 beers, 20 quid I suppose, isn't it? And then in the pockets then, Neil Perry Custom Priest, okay. But the good thing is about the fish pond waistcoat, oh, I'll tell you what I've got as well, is a towel clipped on there. Now, when I used to work in the tackle trade, Richard in the carp shop gave me this, because they get loads given to them. This says Bait Tech. It's from the carp course fishing manufacturer, but it's a little towel with a clip on, and it clips onto something and wipe your hands. But anyway, going back to the fish pond vest, what size is this, you say, guys? There is no size. It's one size fits all. Now there, on the shoulders, it's fully adjustable. There. There, on a fat boy waist, well, there's mine, look, and I'm a big unit, you know, 6 foot 15 stone, and you can see that's done up quite well for me, okay. But the adjustment on that either side is tremendous. So if I'm putting this over a t-shirt like this, I can adjust it, you know, accordingly. If I'm fishing in the winter and I've got a hoodie on and a fleece and a waterproof because it's bloody freezing, I can adjust it, you know. If you're smaller, you can adjust it. If you're a big unit, I know our good friend who we haven't heard from for a while, we need to get in contact, Richard Lindsay, the honey monster. He's a big unit, he's got one. He can put a few stone on me, he's got one, he can adjust it. When I first started showing the fish pond vest, not long after I started doing some videos with different, like the McLean net as well, I went fishing for a year and everybody had fish pond vests, but they are the best quality. All the pockets of mine are bursting full, and they're all good now. All the zips are good, everything's good on this. So guys, have a look at the range of fish pond fly vests. Okay, they start at about 70 quid. Fish pond do everything, mind. You can have it, but you'll pay good money for fish pond, but it's good quality stuff. Imported from America. You can have fish pond, you know, fanny packs, chest packs, bum bags. Um, they do this one, then the next one up has got more hard case pockets. They do them with a little rucksack. They do them with a great big rucksack on the back as well. If you're going, you know, trekking for a couple of days, you can get it all in, guys. Okay, so fish pond fly vests, guys, are brilliant because it's one of these vests that you know that are designed by anglers, you know, not just, you know, people who know fabric and stitching them on. They're designed by anglers. There's all these little extra clips and bits of Velcro, you know, like, you know, what, you know, you've got a bit of Velcro there. Well, what the hell is that for? You know, but if you're in the river wading and you want to put your rod, you put your rod in there, Velcro it across, gives you 2 hands free because it's Velcro across there. So they've got all the little gadgets. On the back you've got your D-ring attachment to put your net, you know. So yeah, look up fish pond vests if you want a nice one. And the great thing is, you haven't got to worry about picking size. Am I a large? I doubt it. Am I an extra large? Probably. But in fish pond, yeah, one size fits all, guys. Okay, so that is great. And if you're up and down your weight, summer to winter, various clothes that fit you. So that's that, guys. Let me just have a catch up here, guys. So Chris got to get rid of his Ron Thompson rag. What is your recommendation for a fly patch to attach to your waistcoat or jacket without the flies falling off? I don't know. There's quite this. They're all going to fall off, really, aren't they? And if they don't fall off, they'll get stuck. With fly patches, you get various ones. You get like a Cortland used to do them, which was like about that big, about a pack of a cigarettes. Would it be the size of a pack of old cigarettes? And it was plastic back and then rippled foam, you know, like some of the. And I used to clip on, and you hooked them in that. And then you can get various fleece, like lambswool type fleece ones as well. And then what else have we got? Which would do a small clip-on one, but it's more of a fly box, a little clear double-sided, I think it is. Might be one-sided, double-sided fly box. But guys, they all fall off. The only way they're not going to fall off is if you've got like a little fly box type that you can shut. If they're exposed, they're going to fall off, guys, isn't they? If you get a fish pond vest. And by the way, guys, I don't get any money off Flybox or anybody or Gary Evans, but yeah, so this one, see, that's a built-in Flybox. There's foam behind that with slotted foam, okay, and like I say, it'll only go to there. It's not going to fall on the floor, so you can even load up what you want for the day there. All right, but you can get them with two, you know, if you want. But yeah, I don't think there is a fly patch that's perfect. And would you want to put your dry flies in a fly patch? Only temporary. You know, you only want to dry them off. But I'd rather use Armadoo patch like that and dry them off. You don't want to keep them crippled in foam, so all the hackles buckle underneath, you know. So yeah, I don't know if there's lots of fly patches out there. It's something that I don't think is very expensive. You know, they just hook your fly in when you change them. But how many people have gone home and there's Well, they don't even probably know, but there'll be flies missing. That's why we probably all find flies on the floor, because they've fallen out of someone's fly patch, I guess, guys. Steve Smith, beefsteak fungus boy. Do you know what? I love Steve Smith. He's a top bloke. Steve, we need to do more fishing together, mate. Come and have a day at Testwood with us, mate. Come and have a day at Testwood. We're there Saturday. We're there the month after. Come and have a day with us, mate. Come and have a day with us, mate. You're welcome anytime. He's a top bloke. Top bloke. So that's that. Now, the other thing I've got on here, guys, someone asked about, is waders. And I like to think I'm pretty knowledgeable about waders, okay, because of when I was in the tackle trade. Right, waders. Waders go from about 20 quid, don't they, to about £1,000, I suppose. And waders vary in thigh waders, waist waders, chest waders. Then they vary then in fabric, don't they? You can have nylon, heavy duty sort of rubber, or breathable type of fabrics. Let me tell you about waders, guys, okay? Whether you pay 20 quid or £1,000, at some stage they will leak, okay? What I used to tell people in the shop: rods break, waders leak, reels are okay. Reels are solid metal, you know, they but let me tell you guys, okay, so if you have a look around and see what the people at the trout fisheries use, who get into the stock ponds and they're doing all the maintenance and the stocks, you see them in these heavy rubbery waders with the bright yellow straps there, and I think most of them now are VAS waders, VASS, VAS waders, okay? And years ago used to be a lot of ocean waders. I think they're very similar, but I think VAS are the newer brand. And VAS do various thicknesses. They used to do a VAS 400, a VAS I think 600, and the VAS 740. They got thicker and thicker and thicker and thicker, okay? Now, those were, and you can get them with studs or unstudded. So those were the heavy duty type waders, and you see commercial fishermen, you know, with the bib and brace and the jacket, and they have the yellow type things on. A lot of that is that type of material, okay? So VAS heavy duty type of waders, they're the sort of workhorse of waders that, you know, people stock in ponds, cleaning out ponds, and they get a little bit of booze, they just hung up in the shed, in the fishery, but they're pretty good, they're very reliable, okay? Would you want to walk more than about 30 yards in a pair of heavy duty VAS in the summer? No, unless you want to lose a lot of weight, okay, because they're big, they're heavy, they're sweaty, but reliable, okay? So then you've got then they do a range of cheapy PVC ones, you know, a happy shopper, cheapy welly, about halfway up the calf, welded to some nylon fabric, again 50 quid a pair, Ron Thompson, like that. Good for a season, but you pay 50 quid for them, job done, okay? And I think with waders as well, is if with the heavy duty rubber type of waders, if you fold them and you crease them and they're left folded and creased, what will happen? They will crack. So with your heavy duty waders, try and hang them up. Now if you hang them up by the straps, you'll stretch your straps and all the elasticity will come out of them, you know. So you can see these little gadgets, excuse me, where you hang waders up by the upside down by the heel. You can buy these little like things you can clip on. Or I see some people, they get like a bit of wood and they cut a V in it because the heel slots into those. So you hang them upside down like that. But heavy duty rubber waders, commercial type waders for fisheries and things like that, they're great. But you wouldn't want to be walking around a lot in those. And there is another fabric as well called neoprene, which is like divers, wetsuit, dry suit material, neoprene gloves as well. If you're doing a lot of fishing, wading in rivers in the winter, when it's very, very cold, you might need to get some neoprene waders again, something you wouldn't want to go around in the summer with, okay? But in the winter, if you're doing a lot of grayling fishing or in the winter, you know, neoprene is good. And then what you've also got with the soles of all these type of boots, okay, you get plain cleated soles, which is like rubber soles, like your hiking boots. You can get that type of sole then with studs in, okay. Then you can get a felt sole, okay, and then you can get studded felt as well. And what you got to be careful of is like on wet grass or a slippery wet grass can be absolutely treacherous, and felt soles on slippery wet grass, you're going to be on your ass, honestly. You're like Torval and Dean on ice, you'd be on your ass, you know. So there's all different types of soles for different types of things. If you're on the River every year, across 100 yards from me, where Luke and the boys fish, and you're fishing and you're walking over, you know, these big pebbles, slimy rocks in the summer, felt with studs in grips like shit to a blanket on those. Brilliant, okay? But yeah, so there's different types of soles, rubber with studs, felts with studs as well, okay? So, and then the other type of wader, which is 75 million versions, is the breathable fabric. Like the fancy waterproof clothing, we've got breathable fabric. Now, breathable fabric waders probably go from 100 quid again to 1,000 quid. You'll get some for 50 quid, but guys, if you blow your nose in them, they'll go through. Waste of time. So with breathable waders, guys, okay, again, if you've got £1,000 pair of waders and you kneel down on a sharp bit of gravel and they puncture, there's no guarantee on that, guys, okay? The guarantee is on the fabric not leaking and the seams not leaking, okay? Not a puncture hole. If you pick £1,000 pair of waders out of those shops and you put a hole in them next day, there's no guarantee, because you've done that, guys, haven't you? Okay, so with breathable fabric waders, there's various ones, but the top end seems to be Sims, okay? Now, they do various range. I know Luke's got some Sims waders, and you can get different waders. They tend to come in numbers, sort of like, you can get a pair of, not just Sims, other waders, like numbers like Sierra done one's called a C3, and a C4, and a C6. Now, these, I believe, to the amount of layers in that particular fabric, still breathable. Now, if you feel a C3 wader, generally they feel quite thin, okay? And then the big jump is like Sierra used to do some CC6. Wow, they were lovely. They were dark grey in colour. Although they were breathable, it was a lovely, lovely tough fabric. But I believe all the other companies do similar. Sims do probably waders from 300 or 400 quid to £1,000. And I think, you know, the heavier that number, the heavier, the more layers in that particular fabric. But be careful with them. Again, if you put a hole in them, it's not the manufacturer's fault, is it? You know, if you're walking through brambles going fishing all the time, you're going to puncture your waders, isn't you? If you're a bit rough and you're kneeling down and you don't care, you're going to puncture your waders. So what I used to like in the tackle shop is a couple of guys used to fish for like the Welsh team on the rivers. We used to practice all the time. They'd be fishing on the rivers all the time. And I really liked the fact that they were really honest. They'd come in the shop, they'd buy a pair of relatively cheap Sierra waders, generally when they were on offer, for about 100 quid. They'd use them for a season, they'd use them to death, then buy a new pair. Now you wouldn't want to do that to a pair of £1,000 waders, would you? Unless you're absolutely minted, okay? But, so be careful with breathable fabrics. If you're up and down the river and you're fishing in the summer, you need breathable waders, guys, okay? But just be careful with them. Make sure you get the right fit. You've got the seams on waders. If you start stretching those seams, because you've got them a bit tight, because you want to be a bit slim, you're going to stretch the seams. You bend over and they're a bit tight, you're going to stretch the seams. What happens when you stretch the seams? They start leaking. And then technically then it's you know, it's an incorrect pair of waders, you know. So tackle shops and waders and manufacturers it must be the biggest nightmare of all. I dread to think what percentage companies have back with breathable fabric. They must be such a It must be such a massive high. I think it'd be over 50%, I think. And then I guess the price of these waders would go up to compromise for that, because they're sorting out problem waders all the time. A lot of companies now, they used to get, you know, with problems with waders, they used to send it to a guy in Scotland, I believe it was called Diver Dave. Orvis did. Orvis were good waders. But then what they do, they'd send them to Diver Dave. And then he would do tests on them. And if you punctured them, tough tits. You've punctured them. So be careful with breathable waders. I've got breathable waders hanging up in the garage here now. They're Orvis, okay? And they were the cheaper end of the Orvis range. They were about 150 quid, something like that, as breathable fabric goes. I haven't used mine for about 2 years. I would expect if I jumped in them now, after a couple of years, they'd probably leak, wouldn't they? You know, they haven't used them, they've been hanging up, you know. So, guys, if you're absolutely wading through brambles and, you know, and it's pretty rough and you're fishing every week, guys, buy breathable waders because they're nice, but guys, spend 100, 150 quid, and if you've had a season, happy days, isn't it? Happy days. It's only the price of a Ralph Lauren polo shirt with a large logo, you know, and all that. But, you know, if you don't go that often, perhaps spend a little bit more money on them. But if you do spend big money on waders, be very careful, guys, because waders leak. Full stop, okay? Full stop. Whether the seam's gone or the join on the neoprene sock is gone. Do you know what? I can always remember one guy, and I think we banned him in the end because he was a nightmare, and he wasn't a very nice guy. He used to come in the shop. He was about 6'2". He was a fairly lean guy, but he had something like a size 14 shoe. He used to come in the shop to buy waders. I used to come in like sandals, and he had the ugliest feet and toes ever. The toenails were that long, right? And he never used to bring socks. So some people, if they go to the tackle shop, they want to buy waders, they might bring some socks with them to try on and have it. He used to come in, disgusting toenails, honestly. Toenails were like that colour, that long, like that. We used to go in the big friendly giant. We didn't like him. We didn't like him. And he'd have a pair of waders, and they'd leak. And they'd leak. So in the end, we said, look, uh, you know, you need to get the right size. A lot of people like these slimmer fits and all this, but yeah. And Orvis, wow, Orvis used to do a range of waders, unbelievable. You know, it's not just like buying a pair of shoes, 9, 10, 11, 12. You know, you could have small, medium, large, extra large, double XL, and then you'd have medium long, medium short, medium king size. Because if if you're short, got a bit of a barrel, so the amount of different size waders Orvis used to do was, well, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. If you went into Orvis shop, you would find a pair of waders for your size. Even if you was like Danny DeVito sort of build, they'd have a pair of waders for you. You know what I mean? Or if you were Eddie Hall, they'd have a pair of waders for you. But wow, that must have been an absolute nightmare for them. Absolute nightmare. But and then so with breedable fabric, if you're fishing every other day, I buy cheap breedables, have a year out of them. If they leak, put a splodge of Aquasure, that'll cure it, job done. After a year, bin them. If you're fishing, not so often, perhaps get a pair of CC4s, slightly thicker. But if you're going to go for like a 6-layer fabric Sims, look after them, guys. You can even buy like a pullover to go over the knee, like a reinforcement. So if you are kneeling down, it doesn't puncture the wader itself. I think Tristan bought some for Luke as a birthday present a couple of years ago. So yeah, so that's that. And then again, like I say, you've got a lot of these waders now a stocking foot. So the wader itself comes down to a neoprene sock, which you can get in different sizes. But there's even a company that will alter the size of the neoprene sock. Now you imagine if you're, I don't know, 5'10", okay, 20 stone, let's say. So that wader will come as standard. It's a big wader, extra large, or and you're 20 stones. So generally, as a standard, everything gets bigger. But what if you've got a size 6 foot and you're putting your foot into a neoprene sock that's, meant for a 13 and you're a 6? It's going to be like that on the end. So there are even companies that you can send away to that will actually customize the neoprene sock for you, so but everything gets expensive then with breathable waders, so yeah, difficult one with waders, but go into a tackle shop, get fitted up correctly. All right, guys, get fitted up correctly. But don't think spending lots of money will get you out of the shit and they'll last forever, because they don't work. They might last longer if you're careful, but just be careful with waders, guys, okay? Just be careful with waders. What have we got here? What is Steve Smith doing? I think he's been on the old Vino Collapso. Steve Smith, sorry buddy. Armadoo is a form hoof fungus, normally found near silver birch trees. There we are. It is also acts as a source of tinder for starting a fire. It absorbs liquid, so great for drying your flies. Perfect, perfect. Thanks to Steve for that. Tim Brandon's in the house. Well done, Tim. There we are. So, guys, we've had a great evening tonight. Guys, looking at those super heavyweight guys, yeah, yeah, I think I got 14 or 15 sets of 12 ordered. If anybody, wants a super heavy set, let me know, because they probably won't even go to the website. Okay, so let me know. It's only a set of 5. All right, if you want a set with a 4.5 mils for flicking in the margin, guys. Okay, so guys, we've had another great night tonight. So don't forget, if you want to go to the competition at Meon Springs, okay, contact Neil Mundy, or Neil Mundy, sorry, or go through to Meon Springs, and that's the 3-fly competition. It's £110, 14th of June, few places left. That's for your day ticket, the entrance to the competition, food, loads of prizes, and a sage rod up for grabs. All right, guys, so I think we've had a great night, guys. Thanks to everybody who tuned in. All right, so I think now, I'm just going to message the bell. Caitlin Wood, hi, can you say hi to Island? Can you get a polarized lens for your camera? Someone else mentioned that. I don't know is the answer to that. If anybody wants to look on the GoPro website to see if they've got a polarized lens that will fit over my GoPro, but don't forget, you're not going to see fish in the middle of the lake, okay? But if I've got takes and fish taking at close range, yeah, the GoPro lens you'll see them. Sorry, the polarized lens, you'll see them. But yeah, so yeah, if anybody wants to look, yeah, hang on, Grandad Chris is back in the house. Grandad, Grandad Chris? You've been messing around with the latex, haven't you? You haven't mentioned the latex lately. Grandad Chris, yeah. DJI do some good lenses. There we are. Grandad Chris, there we are. So, well, I'll see Grandad Chris on Saturday at Testwood. So, don't forget to follow Grandad Chris on YouTube. He does some good videos as well. And he does some good videos with the granddaughter making cakes as well. So, guys, with a great night. But, yeah, if anybody wants to find out for me about polarized lenses that fit over my GoPro, please let me know, guys. All right, so again, got a lovely night tonight. It's a clear sky, the temperature's dropping. I think all the birds have been fed. Okay, guys, so I think now, guys, got some from GoPro as well. So there we are. I'll have a chat to Grandad Chris on Saturday. He's normally good for a few cakes as well. So guys, had a great night. Okay, so the next YouTube live, what do we know? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, fishing Saturday. Well, probably Sunday, I would have thought, guys. Okay, so had a great night. Okay, hope I've answered most of your questions, guys. Anybody need any more gossip, info, let me know, guys. All right, bye bye for now.